Hashtags Warhammer.
Welcome, everyone.
Hi.
uh, we're back. It's AoS R&D with Rob and Dale. We're talking the new Lumineth book, which is why I have a new background. I didn't want to change my background. I was very happy with my spider gets, but
That's what I kept mine as kids.
you did, and so now I feel like a fool because I don't even play this army. But wait, I didn't change it to Lumineth. Did you notice what that it is?
Oh, it's hang on, let me bring
It's
you up.
Batman.
It's Grom the Punch and Eltharion from
Yeah.
Total War Warhammer 2.
So I'm over here, but I'm acknowledging that, that the light from Eltharion is not altogether and always unpleasant. Um, Actually, my favorite high elf character is actually Imric, just because he's all dragons all the time. So that's
Fair
why.
enough.
Actually, is that him in the background too? Didn't he come with the free LC with Eltharion?
I think he did. Yeah, he
Yeah,
was just
right?
kind of like an additional because Calador was kind of sitting around not doing much. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
mhm.
His campaign was legitimately fun. I played it
Yep.
with Jeff, and that was something that we've been throwing around, Dale and I, is maybe we'll start playing some Total War as like kind of a side fun thing that we do.
It's been a terrible one-off
Oh
of
yeah,
I
I
don't
mean, like
know.
we're neither one of us is very good at it, but
Yeah. I like playing the game. I've just not done multiplayer or anything on it. So,
oh yeah, well I was thinking like maybe just like a
yeah.
co-op campaign, and then and we just chat about because we both love the old world really as well. So
Mhm.
I don't know. It's just an idea. Everyone can see what they think. But yeah, so tonight we're talking Lumineth. I didn't bother to put up the the rumor engine because
Oh yeah, I don't know if you've seen the rumor engine today, but it's the most boring rumor engine where it's basically just like a gun holster and gun and belt
yeah,
from the Leagues of Volta that just came out. So it's either going to be like a uh, Necromunda Voltan guy or a kill team, or there's another Votan model going to be coming out in a couple of months. But it's like someone put a side to side picture. I can't remember who I sent you the picture of,
yeah.
and it was just like it's just exactly the same. I think there's literally like one thing missing, but it's the same weapon, it's the same ammo belt, it's the same gun handle, and it's just like, did you even make a new? Is this an old picture by accident?
It's
Like,
true, and Dale and I both like 40k. Like we like the
yeah, we
universe.
like the models.
I,
Yeah,
I
I love the lore.
yeah.
I keep up to date with the lore. I love the horror terrace lore as well.
And until the Nephilim release, I was playing 40k just as much as AOS. I just didn't have enough painted models to really do them properly on the channel. I painted
Yeah.
up the Tyranids, and then yet I think the game of 40k is actually like really good. I think it's maybe their strongest rule system, but their codexes are crazy. It's like they're coming out to the nines and then they're nerfing them down, and it's just not much fun. And AOS is so freaking awesome right now that I'm just like, you know what? Like I'm just going where I'm happiest. And this is not a 40k podcast. That's the main reason that we're not going to really show
Yeah.
the rumor engine and talk about it. This is AOS R&D. It's not
Yeah, it's not even
Warhammer.
one you can like mitigate it being, oh,
Oh
maybe
yeah.
it's this or
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
it's like
maybe
no.
it's a steampunk. No, this is like clearly
Unless they're
yeah.
like literally gonna change KO into having like the same weapons
Oh
views as League
man,
of Votan,
that
then
would
no.
that would be lame. Not
Mm.
because the Votan aren't cool. They're actually super cool
Oh,
looking.
great model range.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just that you want things to have their own original aesthetic, and they've already accomplished that with KO. So yeah, yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So um,
Did you have the any pictures of the box sets at all? Is that something we can briefly talk about as well?
oh, the Christmas box sets. I'm so sorry, everyone. Okay,
You
so
you
um, disclaimer at the start here. Like,
Rob's not well.
yeah, I have a rare gastro disorder, and today my guts decided that they hate me. So that's what's going on there. I'm going to. Okay, so uh, should I? I'll just bring up the Age of Sigmar ones, I guess.
Yeah, they're the only ones we really care
Okay.
about.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured, but I don't. You know what I was thinking is I was just thinking like like there wasn't any news, was there?
Yeah, it was.
And
I'm
then
just gonna give a shout out to LP because he's not in on YouTube, but he's watching us on YouTube. I just don't think he's got a YouTube account.
oh, hey LP,
LP, you can easily make one. It takes you like 2 minutes to make a YouTube account,
make one LP and then subscribe because
and then donate
because
to the Patreon.
I am shameless and
Oh, I need Troggos.
okay, so yes, buy him Trogoffs.
Yeah, no, I was having a conversation with a friend the other day where it's like I've had 4 interviews in the last week, and like one of them was the last one. So hopefully by the end of the week I'm gonna have a job, um,
That
or
would
at least I also have another potential of another one, but that's gonna be like 3 weeks down the line. So I might have to take a job and then jump ship. But it's like it's not because I can buy stuff and pay rent and things like that. It's because I want to buy 12 Trogoffs
yeah,
because I want
it's
3 units of 6 Trogoffs in my gits list
it's because
that
you want
aren't
war
battle line.
dollies. Yeah,
I want more goblins. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
I
I have a problem.
we can talk after the stream, Dale. I do have some trolls, but they're not
Oh yeah.
built and not painted,
Mhm.
and I would obviously want them painted somewhat similar to what I've got, or it's kind of like, yeah. But
Oh no, yeah. I mean, I'm gonna get buy mine at some point and paint mine at some point. But like, no, I've got another list I'm playing with. I'm actually gonna be taking the a Lumineth list. We're doing a game session, so one of our local guys, Darren, has recently been spending a lot of time in his basement, and he's made it into kind of like a games room. So we're
oh
having a
yeah,
game day there on Sunday. So I'm actually going to take like a revamped version of the Lumineth list I used on the most recent video that we haven't uploaded yet, um, and just kind of bring it along mainly so some of the guys can play against it and just see what the new Lumineth can do. But also it's just kind of like a bit of a fun thing. Also because Alex isn't going because he's not well, I don't feel the need to bring my gits and be like brothers of destruction with him.
I was thinking about bringing my gets if I can get them
Nice.
even just assembled. I put Dobby together.
Well, if you need me to bring any, let me know.
Maybe I might. um,
So the
but
box sets.
so box sets.
So I
Oh,
think it was
that
on
was the other
Monday.
thing. The so normally I have new battle reports. Usually I try to make them go up on Monday, but I was cranking out the Patreon exclusive. Um, what's it called? The Patreon exclusive
Oh, you
battle
have a
report,
Path to Glory
Path to
battle
Glory
report.
one. It's me and Carson, and it's unbelievably hilarious. It's really, really good. So I was cranking that out and making the video to announce it and all that other jazz. So I it just and your video with Rob, you know why. You probably know why. It's not that long. The battle report itself is not that long, but it took forever to film it,
Yeah.
and it took way longer to
Okay,
edit it.
so we have a
So,
message from LP saying, for your attention, if you can lower me and mic volume and boost
oh,
your own, because supposedly
me?
I'm coming through louder than you.
Okay, okay, yeah, I can do that. Uh,
Like I said, it put me in regular, but I can also maybe turn myself down. I'm not sure
how
how.
how am I doing? Oh, am I too loud now, LP? Thanks, LP, for the sound advice. We appreciate it. Um,
I'm a potato. Potato. This is a sound test, potato.
yeah, so we'll go on
Yeah.
and let us know, LP. Appreciate it. Okay, so we got way more box sets than normal, and
Yeah.
I won't talk about the 40K ones. Like we won't go into specifics, but they did something really different than they did in Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
So in 40K, I think I think all of them come with a named character that's not a dual kit. Like the Thousand Sun one comes with Magnus.
Oh, nice.
So there's
Yeah.
so that's cool and it's interesting, but we got a better so like we have Lady Ollander here, but the Cruel Boys one comes with Gobsprak, but he can also be just a swamp boss
Yeah.
on the thing. And then we also got what's her name? The tree uh, oh man, I know her name. She's in Total War.
Drycha.
Drycha, thank you. We also got Drycha, who isn't only be able to be built as a named character, but then everything else, I think, is all like you can build it as whatever. So it's kind of a better deal. So anyway, and we usually we get 4 of these. We used to get only 4 box sets, and now we're getting 7, which is pretty
Some people
awesome.
still complain that some of the factions weren't getting
I
anything.
know, like,
Because like you've got to also remember, like Slaves to Darkness are also getting a brand new
yeah,
army box
yeah,
set, which is it was pre-order recently. It comes out this weekend, so that's like another box set on top
and
of these.
I'm not pooping on anyone
Yeah.
who's hurt or whatever. Like, like the Skaven one is hilariously silly because we just got a box set that was trees versus Skaven, and it has almost the exact same stuff in here. Also, Storm Fiends have been in every box set. Clan Rats are in every box set. Plague Monks were
Yeah.
in the Start Collecting forever with the Bell / Furnace. Like, no one needs any of these models. Like, the only thing that some people. This is a great box if you don't play Age of Sigmar.
So going down them briefly, I'll give
Yeah,
you my
okay. So
review of them
okay,
as we
we'll
go
go.
down.
I'll roll
Oh,
down through them, but like
yeah.
but before I do
So
that, like it's not all doom and gloom,
yeah.
and like
Oh no,
yeah,
they're great. They're great to
they're
have,
great
and it'll be
boxes.
interesting to see
Yeah,
their costs as well.
yeah. I really wanted. That was what I was trying to say. So I'll
Yeah.
just go down. We'll go down in order, okay? So first up is
Yeah.
Daughters of
LP
Kings.
also said our sound's doing okay now. We're more on matched.
Perfect. Let me know, LP, if it's if it's even slightly out of whack. I recorded that announcement video on here, and I don't know, it just totally messed everything up, and I don't know what's going on. Also, if I sound hollow, let me know because I think it was recording through my camera before. So anyway, um, walk us through the Daughters one, Dale, because you play Daughters.
Okay, so the Doors Gate set you have 5 Doomfire Warlocks that have been in
Okay,
I think every
why
single.
every time?
But yeah, it's like they're desperate to get rid of Doomfire Warlocks, but the
Just
problem
make them
is
good.
they're the worst unit in a
Yeah.
book where all the units are good.
They're the worst
So
unit
it's like
in a book where all the units are good,
yeah,
and these guys have been in every freaking
oh
box set
gosh,
like
yeah.
ever. Yeah,
I think these are the only models. Oh no, so yeah, so some of these models are from Fantasy as well, but yes, they are definitely from the older Warhammer
yeah.
Fantasy Dark Elf.
And I would also argue
Um,
that they're the worst sculpts in the entire range. Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So this box is strange because like the great things is you get 5 snakes, which will probably have both options, which is good.
yep,
You have 10 witch elves, also this is the floor, good. 5 canary, which are now good. Back in last edition, they were like up and down, but now they're worth taking.
totally.
The Doomfire Warlocks, whatever, that's like a unit. The Cauldron is an interesting one. It's good to have the Cauldron because it's such a key piece in the army, but it also kind of like jips out a bit in comparison to the other army box sets because they're basically making out because the Cauldron kit gives you the Avatar, the Cauldron, and the Medusa and a Hag Queen.
Even it's
That
just
it's
one
like
kit.
multiple stuff,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
though you have to pick, you can't have like, if you take the Bloodrock Shrine, you can't have a Avatar and those 2 other heroes.
it's true.
But realistically, you're going to take it as the Cauldron, which means you can get a Hag Queen and a Bloodrock Medusa out of it as well. So it's kind of like it's an alright set. Like it's
Yeah,
pretty decent to be honest, apart from the Doomfire Warlocks, which maybe one day they'll make them more interesting.
exactly.
Um,
Crew Boys, I do know about Crew Boys. So
yes,
this is a really cool. It really depends on what they charge for this, but like
yeah.
they're everything in here is something that you want, really.
Someone was
Uh,
saying to me, if you add this with like 1 or 2 of the Dominion box sets, you've got a good army. Like you've got a
I mean, you've got
good
a
army for
decent
Cruel
army.
Boys.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
exactly it. And I don't have any of the crossbow guys that are actually from the thing.
yeah,
I've only got Dominion guys. So yeah, that now the interesting thing though is like so Gobsprack and the other kit. That's like a really horrendously expensive kit. It's like $180
yeah,
Canadian, right? So this is like it's awesome that he's in there, right? But
yeah,
the swamp boss or the snatcher boss on Sludge Raker Beast is it's a powerful piece, but it's actually really reasonably priced. It's one of the few
yeah.
things out there I'm just like, wow, I can't believe it's like that reasonably priced. It's almost mono build, but still like it's still great, right? So it'll be interesting to see what the price is on this, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
So,
think it's like, again, if you're getting those, because you can get Dominion box sets now pretty cheap because they've been out a while now
oh
and there's a
yeah.
lot of extra
Yeah, they
copies.
made too
So
many of them.
Yeah, and then people were trading a lot because Crowboy's maybe not the most popular army, just because of their rule set, but a lot of people like the models. You get this, and you guys said get two of those box sets, you're pretty sorted.
Absolutely. And now for the best one, the Squiggle
Oh,
Inch.
just 100%. If it wasn't for the fact I already have all this, I already have four manglers,
You
two of
have
the
four
hero, like three of the
Manglers?
heroes, all the squigs. I have four manglers.
Four? What a maniac!
Yeah.
I've only seen. Actually, I haven't seen any of them. I've never played against a single Mangler. That's crazy.
Which one has the more body count least?
The the
Which one is the
the
worst?
one on the
Okay.
right here. Oh, sorry. Was someone asking a question?
Yeah, LP was sending us a question, basically saying which one has the biggest body count and the least body count, and which one has like is the best or worst points wise. I think the Gits
Oh,
one's actually nearly 1,000 points
yes. I think that's
because
right.
it's
It depends on how
180
you
for the
build it.
hoppers,
Yeah, because
140 for the squigs.
yeah,
The heroes 110, but then the manglers are like 250 each now.
they're two
Yeah,
70, I think.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, and that's if you take them as a loon boss on Mangler.
yeah.
But I'm and then there's the little Capitan guy. But I'm thinking I'm gonna wait to build them because I'm wondering if Mangler Squigs are gonna be battle line in the new book. So I'm just gonna hold off because I've got a bunch of spiders to pay anyway.
Pretty funny.
But I think I'm gonna pick this up because I want Boingot's Bounders and I want more General Squigs.
Yeah.
So it depends on the price though. So
It's
we'll
yeah,
see.
but it's like it's a pretty good set, and it's all squigs, and people love squigs, and
I it would be interesting is to know like LP said like I didn't add them all up. I'm sure someone has. I
yeah.
wish I'd done that, but like I
I
did not
think
have
in
time.
terms of like the smallest points, it's the Daughters of Cain
The
because
Daughters
there's
of
not
Cain.
yeah, it's
I
not a
don't know. It
huge
might
amount
be
of
the
points in that
Skaven,
set.
dude. The Skaven ones.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to it. So the
So Skaven one, but it like looks like a lot of bodies though.
I know it's a lot of bodies. It's
Yeah.
definitely a lot of bodies.
So
But
you've got like
so
two 20s of
yep. So that's
plague
200
monks.
points. Oh no. So the plague monks. Yeah, the plague
Yeah.
monks. Yeah, 220s. That's a
Yeah.
and then the bombardier's like 115.
Yeah.
The
And then
bell,
you have
if
the
you build it
furnace,
as
the
the bell,
bell.
but like the bell is terrible right now. Like if you buy this and you're new to the army, build the furnace. The furnace is way better.
Yeah.
The furnace is fantastic. And I think it's like 200 and I don't know. I don't have mine done yet, so it's like 200. I think it's like 250, 270 points. I could be wrong. It's less than 300, and then the storm fiends are like 300 and whatever. But I don't know, man. Uh, if you're brand new to the army, absolutely. If you're not, then you're probably gonna skip this because you probably already have all this stuff anyway, at least from the
Yeah.
last box. This one is fantastic.
Oh, the
Like,
Legion of Grief. Yeah.
yeah, everything in here is really good. Well, I mean, I don't mean in the game. I just mean like you probably want everything in here. The Black Coach is one of the coolest models they've ever made, and it'll probably come down in points at some point. So where you kind of want to run it. I don't really like it right now. I like Allender. Bladegeist Revenants are amazing. Dread
Well, you,
Scythe
you have
Heritance
10
are
of each,
amazing.
don't you? So you've got like 10
Yeah.
of all of them,
Yes.
which is great.
The only downside to this box is that like in Legion in Nighthaunt you tend to want to lean into either Bladegeist Revenants or Dread Scythe Harridans and pick the
Yeah.
right Legion. But if you're going with like Emerald Host, then these guys would be awesome. I just
Just trade with a
I'm
buddy.
not sure about the Dread Scythe Harridans if you don't run their faction, but and then you got the Sylvaneth one. The Sylvaneth one is dope because it has Tree Revenants, which are some of the best battle line in the game. They're super good. Uh, the what do you call them? The Dryads. They came in everything since the beginning of time. So like if you're looking for
I
Dryads, like
So you also have the two trees as well. So
you
you
got the
have
two
an ancient
trees.
and a
Yep,
Dofru,
yep.
and you have Drycha. So you have
Drycha,
like
and she
three
never
big
comes in
monsters, two
anything.
teleporting
Yeah,
units, a big battle line unit.
yeah,
My only gripe with this box set
yeah.
is now, Games Workshop. We need to have a conversation here if you're
Okay,
ever listening to this.
okay. Let's hear it.
Why oh why are you giving us 16 Dryads when you can only take them in 10 or 20s?
Well, that's what they come in eights. The
I
sprues are
know,
in
but
eights.
like, why not give you a 22 or, six? Like, it's just, yeah, it's just in
Yeah,
terms of like giving you a
huh.
starting amount and stuff. It's
Wait,
like, here's
it would
16
it would be
Dryads. You can only have
24.
10 or 20.
It would be 24, but I don't want them to include that. And here's why. Because then we
Why?
have to pay for it. And no one needs dryads, Dale. No one has ever needed
True.
dryads.
I don't think I've seen a dryad this edition.
Yeah, for real. Like, honestly, if they'd taken out these dryads and left, if they put in a box of Kurnoth Hunters, this would be the box. There would be
Yeah.
nothing better than this, but it is what it is. The Stormcast box is, I think it's great.
It's actually pretty decent because
Yeah.
especially with you have the hero option or the two Stormguard.
Yep.
You've got the Knight Relictor who's just gone down in points.
Yep.
You have the other two units, the Vigil. In fact, all of the units there, apart from the Stormguard, have gone down in points.
Yep. And the Annihilators, right? Oh no, the Annihilators went down too, right?
Yeah, they went
That's
down too.
crazy. I can't believe they went down. They're so good.
That's
Yo,
because everyone
Keith.
uses Stormguard. But I mean, it gives you like potentially three characters there. With the character, you can take the Stormdrake Guard by himself. You've got the you know like the Vigilers there. You've got the Vanquishers. So it's a pretty good little box actually.
I think it's a great little box, actually. Yeah.
It's also like something different. Again, like you add this with like the Dominion set. Again, like with gives you some extra battle line options and some units. Like it's a good 2,000 point starting army.
Absolutely. Welcome, Keith. Welcome, Braden. Braden, I actually wanted to talk to you. I sent. Braden was very kind enough. He was very kind. He joined the Patreon, and I messaged you on Patreon, but I don't have any other way of contacting you. So let me know if Patreon doesn't work for you, because I was trying to invite you to the Discord. So if Patreon doesn't work for you, let me know, and I'll find you. You can find me on Instagram. Just
I've
let
got
me
him
know
on
too.
Facebook.
Oh, you got him on Facebook? Oh, dope. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll make. You
think
can
it's
just
the
add
same
me as a
Braden.
friend on Facebook. That's fine.
If it's the same Braden, I know another Braden, so it could be.
You know another
I'm not
Braden
100%
Smith?
sure. Yeah. I don't know if it's Braden Smith. I'm not sure what his surname is. Let me have a look. It could be a completely different Braden, and it's very, very just coincidence.
Also, Braden, I did add you to the credits of the battle report that's coming out tomorrow. So, as is Dan.
Oh, it is Braden Smith as well.
Is it?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
But that's the last box set. I couldn't remember how many we did. They're cool. Like, it's always exciting to see, and I'm glad that they're doing more, not less. It'll all depend on the price, right? So.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, okay. So now on to the main event, Dale.
Dun, 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 dun.
Cool. Thank you, Braden. I really appreciate that. Um, okay, so now we're bringing up Lumineth. Yes, the Squigalanche is amazing. That's actually named after an old battalion. That's I think I mean actually
Yeah.
it would be in the book, but I don't have the book because it's basically useless to me.
Yeah.
Other than the lore, which Dale was kind enough to let me borrow and read, and it has very fun lore. So I am a complete and utter numpty when it comes to Lumineth. The only thing that the only knowledge I have gained is through osmosis, through watching Dale play.
The one or two times I've played, because I've not really played them much.
There is a new battle report coming out tomorrow
Yes.
with them. So you can look forward to that. We're not going to go too in depth, but
Yeah, so there are other channels that do full book reviews. Unfortunately, because we do not get the books beforehand at the moment, because we're still new. Yeah, they do them very well in depth. There's some great people like AoS Coach that do full breaks down. So we're just going to kind of have like a very like top level chat about it, and just kind of like have a look through some of the things that were taken out that I've noticed, some of the changes that I've noticed, and just some of the things I think are quite good as well. Because I've been playing Lumineth in the background a little bit since they came out. They just never. I was a fantasy high elf player, and when the Lumineth came out, I kind of converted my high elves into Lumineth as a hobby project. But then the army just didn't really hit the mark of how I liked playing. Yeah, the cows were great because at the time they just weren't really being seen, because in comparison to other stuff, it was Techless and Sentinels and
for those that don't know,
foxes.
Dale is an AoS hipster, and he doesn't like. Actually, you're just a gaming hipster. You've been doing it since fantasy, and you don't like to run something that's too strong. But you are a very strong player. You got best overall at LVO. in
I was fourth
2019.
in the Pacific Northwest Masters,
Yeah,
and I was the only one of the top four that didn't use a Kronstein.
there you go. Like
Or a named hero. I was the only one who didn't also have a named hero.
Dale is a very strong player, and
I
and
mean,
so but we're not going to go, because there are other channels that do that. So
Mhm.
what we usually do is we go through it and we do like what we did with the Zeech book, which is kind of like a highlight reel with what the player who plays it likes, and you know what I mean, what they're kind of excited for. So that's what we're going to do. Yeah, if you do want to watch an in-depth analysis, even if it's not Lumineth, go to AoS Coach. He always has amazing guests on. Not as good as some of our guests, to be fair. We have some of the best guests in the business, but next best to us. Love you, Coach. Actually, he does fantastic stuff in general, so always recommend AoS Coach. He says, also, where else can you find a ranged weapon that is half bow, half leaf spring from a car? Peak technology right there. Yeah, for real. Yeah. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I mean, you know what's crazy though is like, oh, never mind. I won't talk about trebuchets because I just think how what an amazing piece of technology it really was for the time. Like if you think
We need
about
to
it.
bring back the Doom Diver. The
Oh,
Doom
the Doom
Diver has to
Diver.
return.
I honestly think we might get it in when the Gits get an
That
update.
was it's peak fantasy. That was.
It's like it's basically perfect. Like
Are you throwing a rock? No, I'm throwing a goblet with a big spike on his head.
yeah.
It's
AOS
so
does
good.
need more trebuchets. Thank you. Yeah. You know what?
Yes.
I think they should add them to the what are they called? Cities of Sigmar, the new one. The I forget what they're called, but
Dawnbringer Crusade.
Dawnbringer Crusade. Like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
some kind of fantasy trebuchet. Like, ooh, like I won't
Estonians.
I won't buy into it
Crazy.
because I know I have a bunch of friends who will. So
Yeah.
I'll just live vicariously through them. What were we talking about?
Okay, so Lumineth,
Yes.
battle traits.
Yes.
Starting off.
Okay.
So, obviously, there is currently 6 subsections for the Lumineth Realm Lords. We'll come to those shortly. There is actually more in the book. They are more the Tyrian side of the faction.
Oh,
So
cool.
at some point, we will receive more Lumineth, which I'm sure everyone can't wait for. Tyrion's side is the militaristic side,
Yeah.
and there are mentions of his territories in the book, in comparison to Teclis's, which are the ones we currently have. Yes, the Fire Slayer's Goblin Hero was awesome. I used to have that. A great model.
That's cool.
Malachi Mackeson's Goblin Hero, which is basically just an axe throwing machine, which is axes on a conveyor belt.
That's so
cool. So the main battle traits are two main things. So one is the lightning reactions, which is basically whenever a Lumineth Realm Lord gets to strike, you get to pick a second unit to strike at the same time. Neither of them can have the always strikes last effect for it to work. So it just means that whenever you pick a unit to attack, you pick 2 units to go instead of 1, as long as it don't have any negative effect on them. Just means it's kind of good because it's Lumineth are more of an elite army. So sometimes you'll have only units of like 5 or 10 models or like a character or 2. Being able to like double team something before it gets to hit you back can be quite helpful. The second part of it is the Aether Quartz Reserve. So basically, every unit in the army has 1 piece of Aether Quartz. You can use it at any point in the game. Whenever you use it, it's gone for the rest of the game, and that unit suffers a -1 to its bravery.
Now,
standard from before.
has anything changed with the Aether Quartz?
Yes, you can't. So you used to be able to cast an additional spell.
Oh.
But you can't now. So you can either have the choices of +1 to hit, +1 to your armor save, or +1 to the cast and unbind. You don't get to have an additional cast anymore, which was kind of like, if you weren't running the Teclis list, it was quite good to be able to like blow your Aether Quartz in a turn just to pump out some extra good spells you needed, especially with like beforehand when like Zytrek used to get 2 spells per wizard anyway.
Yeah.
It means you could take advantage of that. Now that's kind of gone, which hurts a little bit, but not huge amounts. It's just like it's a slight change. It kind of overcomplicated, over bloated what the Aether Quartz could do in comparison to just like similar to the dwarves have. Where
Well,
it's just
and like as people will see tomorrow, if you could do that with the battle tactic they had, it'd be guaranteed.
Oh yeah. Yeah, which we can come to when we come down to it. But yeah, if you had that with that battle tactic, it kind of it made the game a very different thing.
It sure would.
Be almost as easy as the Daughter of Cain battle tactics. And
Yeah,
no,
exactly. It's almost automatic. Yeah, 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 yeah. Keith says he doesn't mind
Okay.
the extra cast being gone. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think most people are pretty rational about it, as are you clearly, Keith. Yeah.
Do you want to scroll down to the next
Oh,
page then?
sure. Yeah. Oops.
Because that's really it.
I tried to do it on the wrong thing there. Okay.
So most of the stuff on the command traits,
Oops. There we go.
they're just kind of like you kind of some of them are generic. So you have an area hero, you can have like +1 to decide whether you get a CP on the turn, so you're getting the CP on a 3+ instead of a 4+ for heroic leadership. Once per turn, you can re-roll a +1 to hit. These are very like meh, they're not that great. Some of the more interesting ones as we go down. So like the Scenari heroes, for instance, being able to have 2 spells instead of 1.
Is this the right one?
Hmm?
Lords of Air.
Oh no, there's a backup one.
Oh, okay.
It's with the Scenari hero
I see
War
it now.
Master.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, so instead of sometimes you want to use a Warlord trait to get an additional spell choices for your general's hero, just so they have the choice of the extra spells and the units can do. This is if you need to use that Warlord trait for something else to bring in, it gives you an extra spell for your general. The fast lane is the same as it was before, where basically whenever he tries to unbind, he gets like an additional unbind, and the second attempt you get a reroll of that.
Got it.
So it's the same as it was before, nothing changed there. Yeah, Spellmaster is pretty good, so once per battle, a general can use his magical Aether Quartz without using the Aether Quartz to do so.
But what is that ability? The
it's the +1 to cast the spell or unbind.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, you probably said that, but I was trying to. Yeah.
So this gives you a second one, especially if you have that person when we get to it later on inside the train piece where you're getting the reroll as well. It can just be quite useful for being able to counteract some of that higher level magic. Hi, Alex. Yes, boo elves. Elves are not destruction. Boo. The Air Lords, which you will probably never see, because to be honest, most of the time you'll either see a Scenari hero or the Stone Mage hero.
Yeah.
They have some there, it's like some extra moves to the unit, reroll, or 1 to run and charge, and blah blah. You'll probably never see a Lord of Air. It's also like the Venari as well. To be honest, the other 2 choices are better because if you're gonna go Avalon or Aralith, which are kind of like Ymetra based, you're going to use a Stone Mage as your general. Most of the other time you'll either have Teclis or you're going to have a Scenari hero because they're pretty good.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, the Grand Wind Rider on a Helon could work because you get extra maneuver shenanigans, but I just don't know if you'll really see them as much. With the foxes getting brought back down a little bit, which again we'll come to later on.
Yeah.
It just takes away some of that.
Okay.
So the stone ones, these are kind of these ones are newer and pretty interesting. So the first one, technically attuned, basically means if you have your hero next to the spirit of the mountain, he gets to shoot twice instead of once. His shooting attack is pretty good. So I use this. It's a 24-inch range if I'm correct, but it hits on 3s, wounds on 2s, it's Ren 2, and it's D6 damage. So having 2 of those is a pretty good shooting attack if you're using all that attack. So it's 2s, Ren 2, D6. You can do quite a lot of damage to something.
Yeah.
Unless they roll 6s for armor saves. The +3 wounds to the general, again, if you're going something a bit more defensive, because when you run a Stone Mage, if you have him within range of a Spirit of the Mountain, they get to attack at their top profile. So you might want to take that if you're trying to keep that person alive a bit more, because they don't.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't get the bodyguard rule from things we'll come across later on, like the Scenari do. So you might see that. The last one is the Unyielding Toughness, which is another good one, which is you can pick a friendly Stone Guard unit wholly within 6, and they get +1 wound until the next hero phase. Again, this one can be pretty good, but the problem I have with it is it's the wholly within 6. So
Yeah.
is trying to keep them wholly within 6 when if you're running more like if you've got like 10
Wow.
or 15 because they're quite slow movement because of if you use one of the stone mage's ability they don't get to pile in that it can be very situational where you can actually mesh yourself out of it working.
You really have
um
to. Although, don't the Stone Guard have that ability where they cannot pile in?
yeah, so that's through the stone mage,
Yeah.
which
So
we'll come to later on. So
fair
like
enough.
it's very like it's a positional thing because like a lot of the stone mage bosses are if they're within 12 and you usually want to keep the stone mage next to the spirit of the mountain if you
Mm.
have one of those. So being in a position where you kind of got to stay 6 inches wholly within the stone guard but you also want to babysit the big guy
Yeah.
can be difficult. Also the fact of like if your stone mage dies and this turns off or you're out of range and this turns off you could suddenly have additional people dying because they've taken the additional wounds.
And to Keith's point, I guess that kind of, yeah, like an extra 3 wounds would probably be a better idea. So he's 8 wounds instead of 5,
Yeah.
and then he's still -1 to be hit if he's in a
Yeah,
group,
because
and
you don't want your dude near the combat. Like when
no.
I was running him in my game, it's like he hides behind the spirit in the mountain, nowhere near combat as much as possible. You don't want him in combat. It's just because if he got, he's only got like 4 up save with 5 wounds. Yeah, he's immune to rend too,
What
but he's very easy to kill.
was that?
And
Your
then as
guy
soon
with
as
the
he's
book?
yes, the guy that never saw combat.
That's what I thought, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like I think the Stone Mage is the guy who's sitting on the rocks normally, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you were using a high elf
Yeah. I
guy.
don't have the models. I will get them at some point. I just prefer to use my old proxy. So.
Yeah, hey, go for it.
Yeah, so then we go down to artifacts. And again, like
Yes.
some of these, you should see, like, there's the one that gives the bearer +1 extra Aether Quartz. It's like, yeah, okay. One that gives the bearer run and still charge in the same turn. That can be pretty good.
So
Some of the
if
new
you
mounted
I have a
heroes
question
are a
though.
lot better.
I have a question. If you have 2 Aether Quartz, does that mean that you minus your leadership by 2 if you use them both?
Yeah,
Hmm. I don't know, man.
yeah. But
Yeah.
then again, because it's on a hero, does it really matter?
Well, but it does for heroic recovery.
For hero recovery, yes, but for like most other stuff, it's yeah.
Uh,
I try not to use my Aether Quartz unless I need to.
yeah.
If something's about to die, oh, thank you, Alex. If something, because I'm not sick anymore. Well, I'm pretty much not sick anymore. Um,
I like the
for
qualification
like
there.
2 weeks, it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's something
But
going around right now that's not even COVID that
yes,
just
yeah, it's
lasts
not
for a
COVID.
while.
It's just like
Yeah.
throat sore, cough, sinus. Bleh. Yeah, so I try not to use my Aether Quartz, going back to Aether Quartz, unless I think the unit's going to die, because the bravery hit on an army that doesn't have great bravery, most of your units are bravery 6 or 7. Taking that extra -1 bravery is pretty bad.
And they're supposed to be
Just
high
for like,
elves, so like they should. You'd think that they would be like 9s. Like you think that they would have great bravery,
yeah,
but
I think it's one of their weaknesses
and
that they
like
have to have.
I don't play them. Well, see, I don't like like I don't play, and I have no interest in playing Lumineth, right? But
Yeah,
so it's kind of, I feel like it's kind of better if I say that because like I truly think that. And same with
you used to
Seraphon. I think that the same about Seraphon. They're celestial demons or whatever they called them before. Like these
you
things
used to be
should
able to
not.
cheat. Elfarian used to be able to give your army leadership 10 within 24 inches. He
Oh,
doesn't have that anymore.
that's
So
crazy.
yeah,
That's too much.
yeah. So yeah, so as Keith says, the command traits and artifacts are pretty. You can see them on screen. I'm not going to go through them all.
Yeah,
The kind of ones that are interesting. So the silver ones carried over. That's a scenario one. It
yeah.
means you get to cast an additional spell, so that can be quite useful on your hero, or even like if you're taking like the Enlightener and having free spells. If you're taking like additional spells to choose from as well, you can have quite a toolbox of options, especially with the Scenari heroes having that ability where once a game they can cast a spell on a 9. Um, can be pretty good. The other decent one here, which can be interesting, but it's entirely situational, is the Phoenix Stone. So the Phoenix Stone is once per battle before you allocate a wound on a Lumineth hero within 12 inches that would kill the hero. On
Okay.
a 3+, he basically doesn't die and heals D3 wounds. The
Okay.
problem is it's kind of very
If you
similar to the
overkill them,
Stormcast.
yeah,
Yeah, it has to be the one wound
yeah.
that kills him.
Or
So
it could be like, couldn't it theoretically be two if you roll a 5 or a 6?
maybe.
I don't know, but
That's
it's a little better than
yeah,
the Stormcast one. But the problem is it's once per battle.
yeah. So it's kind of like a very situational
Yeah,
thing.
I think I'd rather
Um,
just have Arcane Tome and or you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it's just one of those things where it's just still continues to be good. Uh,
yeah.
although
Which
I do like the Ruin of Senthoi. I don't know. It sounds like that's kind of interesting because if you put them like a couple of guys in a pack, you could make kind of like an unbinding bubble. Uh, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I think it's kind of interesting. It's possible. I don't know if it's
It,
good or
it
not, but
it means you kind of need to take multiple scenario heroes.
which one
So
are the
and
scenari
you,
again? See, I don't see how little I
oh,
know.
so scenario you have the Lawmaster, you have the Enlightener, you have the Cathaler, and there's the other one that no one really takes, but he's now cheap, the Caligrave, I
Oh,
think it is.
okay.
They're all pretty cheap now, so you could kind of take a four hero council of like 110 point mages that have a one cast, one dispel to do this.
Okay.
But then again, they're all most of the scenario characters are like a 5 up armor save, no ward save in case you get the spell off, and 5 wounds.
Jeez.
And then not combat characters. So if you're doing that, it suddenly becomes like you're putting a lot in to get something that's like, eh.
Yeah, yeah,
Like if you're
fair.
that desperate for that, just take a Stormcast ally and take a
Auto unbind.
um yeah, the auto
Just
unbind dude.
spell scroll, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh.
The Lawmaster is 4 up, and but like again, a lot of his rules require you to be away from other Lumineth models.
Oh,
So
do
it's kind
they?
of if you're having him
Ah,
hang around with the Lumineth guys, he loses
pretty
some of his
crafty.
rules.
Although if he's rocking a 4 up and then you just have yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Regardless. Okay. Should I scroll down to
Yep.
okay.
Yep. So then you have some of the Winds of Magic. So a lot of it's got reduced down. I think we used to have more spell options before.
You had like 18
So
spells
now,
before, Dale. So yes.
yeah. So
Yeah.
now, like the Law of Winds has 3, the High Peaks has 3,
They
and
did
the other one has 6 still.
they did the same thing to the Skaven magic, and I have no earthly idea why. I don't get it. Like,
Oh, we're missing the other spell lore,
yeah, I mean,
which
I
is the
can
main
scroll
one.
down. I thought you were. Oh, weird. Yeah, it's not here.
No, we didn't get it. No, I mean the other spell lore pretty
Oh,
much didn't change. The only change was you lost Lambert Light, which is the
it, it's the
reroll
cancer one.
to shoot. Yes. So
Yeah,
a
just
lot of
kidding.
people used to use it on the
The Sentinels.
Sentinels
Yeah.
because you could get the it didn't say reroll misses, you could just reroll them all. So they would just fish for those mortal wounds. So that's gone. The rest are pretty much the same. Some of the costs did go up, so a lot of the good ones have kind of got like an 8 or a 9 cast now,
Yeah.
um, which kind of takes into effect of some of the scenario have this like free like a cast on a 9 rule once per game. Um, but it means you kind of like need to take that in account when you're looking at your army because
Yeah.
one of Lumineth Realmlord's biggest weakness is ward saves. We don't have them on our scrolls. You only have 2 ways to really get them, and that was uh, Tactless with his one, or Protection of Heish, which is a spell. But again, it's like a 9-inch range on a hero, which is pretty easy to kill, and it's an 8 to cast. So, our ward saves are not really there unless you can get the spell off.
Um, by the way, Keith in the chat, Lambent Light is gone as it should be.
Yeah.
Overwhelming Heat is in his place. Old Zytric spell. Who's this guy, Keith? He's like way too calm and rational. It's freaking
So
me
one of
out.
the interesting things though that has not been FAQ'd yet about
Okay.
protection of Heish
Yeah.
is it doesn't say Lumineth Realm Laws, it says friendly models.
Ooh.
So you can actually take an ally in your army and they would also get the 5-up ward save as well.
Ooh.
So you can even take something big like a monster that would
Ooh.
necessarily beforehand have a ward save.
Like
I was
like a
watching.
Leviathan.
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
rocking a 2-up save. Like, what is it,
If he's
18
under 400
moves?
points, yeah. Yeah, I
Oh,
saw
man.
Jack from Rerolling
Oh,
Ones
it's
using it in
over.
a
It's
game where he
over.
took Spirit of Dufru
Yeah.
and Spirit of Dufru with the 5-up ward. And I was like, hang on a second. And it's like, oh no, because like you read the rule, it just says friendly models. It doesn't say Lumineth Realm models.
That's really powerful.
So that's a nice way of
But
being able to add some allies in your army and giving them a 5-up ward save, which can
that
kind of like add some options of allies coming in.
it's really cool. Honestly, I think it's fine. It might be a mistake, or it might just be fun detected, get it out. But I hope not. I actually hope not. Like I don't like to see like fun stuff get taken away. Like
Yeah.
I like cool combos. Anyway.
So some of the cool spells here I'm just pointing out. So one of
Yeah.
them is the Transporting Vortex, which is a teleporting one with the Wind Mages,
Yep.
where basically it's 8 to cast, 12-inch range, pricker friendly, Lumineth Realm Lords, wholly within range, and you can teleport them anywhere on the battlefield out of 9. So it gives you a nice little teleport spell option.
Yeah.
Does mean you have to take a Wind Mage though, and it is an 8 to cast, so it's
Um,
not necessarily easiest to cast.
Wind are the kangaroo guys.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it
The
but
the the, the Wind Hero is like a guy standing on a cloud.
cool. Like Goku.
Yeah.
he's Goku.
Um, for the lore of the high peaks, there's actually some decent ones in here. So you've got the Unbreakable Stoicism, which can give a Stone Guard unit a 5-up mortal wound instead of a 6. And because their mortal wounds are in addition to, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
The Crippling Vertigo is also pretty good, which is the one where it's kind of like a less good version of Be'lakor. So whenever you cast on a unit and they've got to take a 2d6 bravery test whenever they want to run, move, charge, retreat,
Oof.
Highland kind of thing.
Oof.
But considering most good stuff in the game is a 10, but if you're making them roll it so often, there is a chance it could fail.
I mean, like you could theoretically just make Storm Fiends not get to do anything the entire game
Yeah,
because they have terrible bravery, right?
yeah.
Or
And then there's the Living Fisher, which is you just won't really see it because you'll take one of the other ones instead.
fair.
It's
Yeah.
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 It's like draw a line, do a thing, do some D3 mortals. It's like, okay, yeah, but I'd rather have 5-up mortals on my Stone Guard or, that 2d6 thing if you're going down that route.
Nice. Keith, by the way, sounds like someone from our club. Just not. Most of our club, we don't run the like really annoying, unfun NPE stuff. Like that's something we have as a general rule. That's really good.
Yeah, like my Lumineth has no Teclis, no Sentinels, no Foxes or Hilarium models. So
yeah,
yeah, it's completely different. Okay, so now we're down to Great Nations.
Cool.
These are pretty simplified. They've been completely changed. They used to have like some little different ups and downs. So now Ymetra just gives the enduring as a rock ability. Used to be something you had to declare at the beginning of the turn, which is so stupid. Now it's just on the war scrolls. So basically, any RLF unit, if they have a ignore rend of 1, if they're in Ymetra, they ignore rend of 1 and 2. So if you're hit by Rend 3, you're still taking Rend 3 damage. It only affects Rend 1 and Rend 2, takes it down to Rend 0.
But considering how rare Rend 3 is in Age of
Yes.
Sigmar, it's like, okay, this is still amazing. And the other thing too is if you have, let's say you have Rend 2 and you've got a purple sun, well that doesn't count as Rend 3. So you're still taking, -1 to your save from the sun, but other than that, you're good to go.
The other thing as well is you can save stack as well for a limited amount of time.
Yep.
So you can Mystic Shield them. You can use All Out Defense. You can also like once per game use their Aether Quartz as well to give them the +1 armor save.
Perfect.
So if you are in that situation where you're against something with Rend 3, for like you've got a chance of being able to buff up your armor. Yeah, there's also a chance as well that there's a spell which is in the mains, which we didn't come to, which is so the main spell lore. Some of the spells you have are Speed of Heish, which basically doubles your movement. You have Ethereal's Blessing, which gives a unit Ethereal.
Which you use in the battle report
yes,
quite
I
effectively.
Use quite a lot. It's a pretty good spell. So yeah, it's all good having immunity to Rend 2, but that's only in your RLF unit. So being able to put Ethereal Blessing on other units, I know, Ethereal Blessing on some of it can be pretty good if you
It
don't have the reason I like Ethereal's Blessing, Keith, is because if you have it with an Enlightener, you can potentially get it off twice. And if you're in a situation when you have multiple combats going on and you can't buff multiple units, it's good to be able to like have them
Yeah,
with that ability.
you could save stack on
Yeah,
one unit that's ignoring -1 and 2 rend, and then on the
yeah,
other one they're ethereal, so it's like, okay, you've got -6 rend. Like you're
yeah,
facing beastmen, you're just like, ha ha ha, cool, bro.
yeah.
Nothing changes.
So it has a place. It's just that usually you want to kind of save stack instead.
I mean,
Um,
arguably you're kind of spoiled for choices, just with nine,
yeah,
or three different spell ores and nine different spells total. Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
And it depends on what hero kind of mix you take as well.
he
Um,
almost regrets. Yeah, I mean, I could see that too. Like if you're facing like clan rats, then it's like, yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
when I used it in the video the other day, I had like my Unitarian Unix already immune to Ren 1 and 2, and he didn't have anything with Ren 3. So I used it to mainly cast on those things that didn't have that. So like the Blade Lords or the Wardens or something, whereas like I don't want to have to babysit you and buff you with CP or try and put a Mystic Shield on you. I'd rather just kind of give you that Ethereal and see if that will hold you off. Because you're on a 4-up save. So
Yeah.
Ethereal on a 4-up isn't terrible.
Nope. Not at all.
The way I roll it is terrible, but you know it's pretty good.
Yes.
Um,
Uh,
so yeah,
Great Nation of.
there's another
Oh.
spell. It's like Solar Flare, where basically you dispel. I think it's an endless spell, and then you can do damage to a unit nearby and stuff. But the most of the on the Total Eclipse is another big one.
Ooh.
With Protection of Haish, that's the one where you make people use an additional CP for
That's
whenever they spend the
really
CP.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's an 8 or a 9 to cast now as well. So again, it's like quite like Protection of Haish and
But
that one. They're like
that
high
should
to
be.
cast spells.
That should be though.
Yeah,
If you're gonna because like CP are so important. So if you're gonna
yeah,
make people just burn them,
yep.
yeah, I think it's
So it
fair.
just means if you're not taking Techless, you kind of have to either take the Twin Stones or ways of getting pluses to your casting and taking like Cogs for the reroll. Even though Cogs has now gone up to 70 points, so
I could
it's a
see it
pricey.
still though in Lumineth, especially when you're trying to get battle tactics off or
Yep.
whatever. I'm
I've
not
also
just saying
seen
take it, but yeah.
people take multiple Samurai heroes as well. So each turn, they take it in turns to cast the same spell, just with that automatic 9 to cast.
Ooh,
Because it's a once per game ability. So,
got it. That's cool.
but it's such an important thing to be able to get like a 5-up ward save bubble on your army. Or if you're against someone that's like a CP heavy army, being able to penalize them for that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh,
But again, you've got to then build into that. That's the other thing.
before we move
Um,
on for
mhm.
Eometra, it says when friendly Eometra Alarith units. So are those? Does that include the regular?
No.
No, it's only
So
for
in
the
my
cow
list,
guys, right?
the Stone Mage, the Spirit of the Mountain, and the Stone God get this,
Yeah.
but the all the other units in like so the Dawn Riders didn't get it.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, it's only those
Okay,
units with the
only the
Aerolith.
cow hats.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, only cow hats. Yeah, only cow hats get it.
Are there any Eometra Alarith battle line units?
Just Stone Guard if you're in Ymetra.
So those Stone Guard were battle line.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay. Now, Great Nation of CR? I don't know.
Yes. So they're the same as they were before. Exactly. So they basically get each unit gets 2 A for quartz instead of 1.
And then, but I guess they do go down by two, but that's still really good actually. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's just
and
like,
again, you can build a lot around it because this means like 2 turns in a row that warden unit can get +1 armor save, or you can get two spells in a row. You can get +1 to cast of the spell and stuff. So
yeah,
yeah,
that's good.
it's pretty. It's a fairly seen group.
I like it. Cool.
The next one is Iliatha. So that's once per turn. You can say that 2 friendly units will use the my battery's low. No, it's not. I charged it earlier. Sorry, my phone's beeping at me. Um, yeah, so you can use an A for quartz in 2 units instead of 1, essentially.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah,
oh,
once
I
per turn, you
see.
can say that 2 friendly units will use A for
I
quartz
thought they
instead of
all could. I didn't know that. I didn't realize there was a limit on it. I didn't realize only one unit per turn could use Aether Quartz.
yeah.
That's interesting. Um, I think I'd rather just have more Aether Quartz, but
Yeah, true. Um, Zytrek's a popular one.
yeah,
That's when you get +1 to cast Dispel and Unbinding.
just
It used to give you an additional spell as well.
ooh, that's
So,
insane. That's
yeah.
insane. Okay.
And everyone got the Overwhelming Heat as like a free thing.
Jeez.
But yeah, that's going on. So they just get the thing. I think it used to only be the first spell as well. Um,
Per
you can only
phase.
spend one if it goes per phase, yeah.
Huh.
You used to be able to. I think the Zytrek one used to be the first spell I cast. So if you had a caster with multiple spells,
Yeah.
now it's just +1.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um,
Alumnia.
Illumina.
Ooh.
Uh,
He's
I've
not
not
wearing
just put
aluminum. I don't get it.
it.
Looks like gold to me. Uh,
And so if they're touching another models in the same unit, each model in the unit within 6 inches counts as two for objectives. You don't really see that much.
yeah,
I don't
because
even I don't think even I read that because it's like yeah.
yeah, you probably read it once and was
Um
like, eh.
the last one is Helium, which is like you add one to the attack's characters and some missile weapons if they're within 6 inches of enemies. So that's good in like the kangaroo people and stuff, or like
Oh,
the foxes because you can get in close and do your shooting and get
that's
out of range. And
that's really
so
cool.
the ones you realistically see at the minute
Yeah,
are going to be Zytrek, Helen, and Ymetra.
yeah. I
You
think
may see Sayer a bit as well, but most it's those ones you don't really see. Ilithia and Alumina.
I think I would go with Helon because I really like the foxes. So, like, even if they're not good anymore, I don't really care. I play stuff for I like models and that kind of thing. So,
Helen big cows with the +1 attack. Yeah, that could work quite well.
well, and
If
this
they get the, I don't know if they get the Helen keyword though, because you don't get it for being in the group.
um this would also work on Unleash Hell.
Yeah,
Anytime something gets charged, Unleash Hell.
yep, yep.
Sentinels even it just says missile when they're within 6 inches. So,
But they've got to be Helen units, so
oh, are Sentinels not considered Helen units?
I don't think they have the Helen keyword.
Oh, but wouldn't they all get the Helen keyword when you take that?
I don't think you do.
I mean, that's false advertising because they literally have a Sentinel in the picture here.
Yeah,
Not that I put that past them. They have
I mean,
they have a
like I know.
guardian. They have a guardian
I
in the
know all
tower. So
my my list doesn't all get ignore render two.
yeah,
So
exactly. No,
then
that's what
again,
I'm
it doesn't
saying.
have that sea enduring of the rock. So maybe
Yeah. Uh.
Hurricane is the way to it. Okay,
Oh.
so
Okay.
maybe then.
Maybe. Yeah.
Um, so yeah, so next comes down to grand strategies.
Yeah.
Uh, these are okay. It's kind of the same with the other grand strategies where it's like it's okay.
Yeah.
So you have options. So again, you got options for each of them. So the one I've tried is the Aralef Aftershock. So basically, at the end of the game, you have to have two Aralef units on two different objectives, which can be doable. Um, the Venari one is at the battle end. You complete this grand strategy if there are four or more Venari units on the battlefield, and the model picked to be a general has been slain. Your opponent's general, sorry, has been slain. That's probably a bit more difficult because usually if you're taking Venari units, it's your Venari Sentinels, the Dawnbreakers, and the Bringers, sorry, and Wardens. So
Yep.
they're not the most offensive units, and a lot of the time you're kind of short on units. So I think that's kind of a risky one unless you're going like a full all-in Venari list with the heroes as well, and you've got a good way of being able to kill the general.
Yeah. I mean, I think these are pretty good. Like, I guess it depends on what you're comparing them to, though.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes. It's like, oh, you get the book ones, that's it. Oh, okay, that's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, the Skaven one might as well say that because
Yeah.
it's like have three or more like Master Clan and Mulder heroes alive at the end of the game. It's like if I've got
Yeah.
that, then I'm already doing, anyway. But the battle
Uh,
tactics seem pretty good, right?
oh, so yeah, so that's yeah, the thing. So the battle tactics, you've kind of got to build for it. So Pick one enemy monster on the battlefield and complete this tactic if you kill it with the Shard Star Ballistas. So Shard Star Ballistas, when we get to them, they get free damage
That's
against monsters
true.
instead of D3.
I
So you
think
can do it, but you need to have kind of like you need to have like two or three Shard Star Ballistas,
yeah.
or have the monster on like pretty much no wounds because they only get a couple of shots. So it's risky to do unless you have multiple Shard Stars.
I think they're pretty
Um,
good though because there's some that like are general use, like that you don't even have to build towards. Like you probably have four casters, like four
Yeah, but
casts.
again, as you were maybe seeing the thing, just because you have the cast doesn't mean you're
Well, you
necessarily going to
didn't
get
have the
them off.
casts, but
Or yeah,
yeah.
or
But like at the
the
start of the
conserve
game,
eight
like
of
you
course.
should have four casts,
Yeah.
right? You should have like six
Um,
or seven casts, right?
yeah, but again, if you think about if you're against someone like Croak or Teclis or Nagash or Vanquil or things like this, where they're getting like multiple dispels with +3 to the spell.
Yeah, but you don't have to build towards it, and I think
Yeah.
that's like just that's strong in general. Like most like there's like the Skaven ones are all based around clans. So like there's only one that's like likely to happen, which is
Yeah.
the Scryer one. It's like kill something with a Scryer, unit. So that one's good, but you have to build around it, and it's specific, and it has to, you know what I mean? It has to fulfill all these different things. But yeah, I think these are pretty good. Like,
Well, some of them, so like for instance, the endless spell one. So if you're building your army and you've got three endless spells,
yeah,
and you have them all out, and they can only dispel one at the start of the turn, then you're fine. But you
yeah,
have to build your army to have that.
yeah,
The one with the Aether Quartz, you gotta make sure you kill the thing with the person you've chosen, or else it doesn't
yeah.
matter if they're getting the next guy. It's gotta matter. So it's gotta be used at the right time. So they just give you options, really.
It's interesting. Yeah.
They're not like easy
No,
options,
and they
but they're
shouldn't
an
be.
option where
They
if you're
they
kind of
and
stuck.
they shouldn't be. Yeah, I like it. And thanks Keith for the. He said some factions only
Okay.
benefit specific keywords. Alarith, Wizard, Inari, or Vanri. Helen is army wide. Confusion is understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
then again, so you could take that big block of sentinels and then have them on Helen, and then if they get charged, you could suddenly shoot them.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So why don't we just
Uh,
touch on? We won't go into, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
we'll do like
Techless, not a huge amount changed. Like
yeah.
they lost Lambert Light. Um,
He still
yeah.
doesn't have to play the
Oh, the main thing is when he takes wounds now, it changed. So when Techless cast spells, you can either cast one and it's unbindable, two and it's cast on a 12 and they're bind, but unless you get pluses that are unbindable, or four cast of 10, and you can unbind them, but again, they're a cast of 10. But now,
for
if he doesn't also know all the spells too, now if he takes damage, he's kind of stuck choosing certain ones.
also welcome James. Big fan of
Yes, Techless has to choose his enhancement now. If he can change it.
has to choose a spell enhancement now.
Yeah.
Huh. What does that mean? What's a spell enhancement? Oh, like he has to pick a spell. I've seen. They were saying
Yeah.
the same thing. I,
Yeah.
I thought it was like some term I wasn't got it. Yeah.
Yeah, he used to know. I think it was like Lawmaster and just knew all the spells.
Yes. Yeah. And honestly, okay, so just a
He
personal
should be
opinion.
because he's techless.
Yes. Okay. So
Yeah.
like I'm going to giveth and taketh away or something like that, right? I think that I don't think like you should have anything in the game that just doesn't roll dice to do something. Like
Yeah.
that's something I don't like. Even if you put him at like +5, I don't care. I think he should still roll dice. But because like Nagash is a god, he rolls dice. Like all these people roll dice. Croak rolls dice. But but he should know all the spells. Like what? He should know all the spells of all the lores. He's freaking techless. He created this race. He created like this whole thing. Like it's yeah, that's silly to me. But hey, you know.
It's interesting that his protection of techless does have the Lumineth keyword,
Yes.
but the
Well,
protection of Heist doesn't.
and then you can that means you can cast both because they're two different spell names.
Yeah, but you
Uh,
can't benefit from both.
well, can't you can't benefit from both,
Yeah,
but
it actually
you could.
says that this
No, I
spell
know, I
cannot be cast in the
understand.
same
But you
phase.
could have one casted over here,
Oh,
one
yeah.
casted over here, and then you've got two big bubbles instead of one.
No, you can't. It says on his spell that this spell cannot be cast in the same phase as Protection of Ish.
Oh, dang. Sorry,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah,
I, yeah, I didn't read that. So, but he
yep.
has, so for his, how many different spells does he have? Is it two?
So he has two scroll ones because he's got the Searing Light of
Okay.
Teclis and he's got the Protection of Teclis.
So that's kind of lame because he can only then cast three spells unless he casts Mystic Shield or
Or Arcane Bolt, yeah.
Arcane
Unless
Bolt.
you take the
So,
Warlord enhancement where everyone gets an additional spell as well.
oh, that's a good idea. But still, like you shouldn't have to. He should come with. You know what I mean? He should come with
And
everything he needs. Like, or
it may get
even if
FAQ.
they just said, "Hey, pick a lore," and he knows all those spells. Okay, cool. Like that's reasonable. But you know, roll with a yeah, exactly, Keith. Right? Roll with a bonus. I don't even care what it is. Like even if you, I don't like. It hurts my soul if he has better casting than Croak, because the slam like literally taught everyone. But whatever. Like hey, like yeah, just but like it's like the same thing with OBR when they just don't participate in the battle shock phase, the only bad, you know what I mean, phase of the game. It's like we should all be playing the same basic game, especially for the cost. Yes, exactly, James. Like
Yeah,
he should
blow up
know
points.
at least one like total spell lore, and whatever. It's fine. It's fine. We're not bitter. I don't even play the army. I don't know why I'm so upset. I do like that he has a -3 on two different things. That's wild. I mean, it's only D3 damage and it hits on fours, but the lunar staff is twos and twos -3 D6. Like that's pretty cool. Yeah. So not much has changed with him. Light of Eltharion has not changed too much either.
He's actually has some good stuff. So he's got additional wounds now, so he's on 8 wounds. His damage both went to 3.
Yep.
With the chance of doing 2d3 if it's his target thing with the Snarry Blade. One of the big things he lost was that command ability, and that gave your army within 24 inches the Bravery 10. Which kind of was nice to have, where it's like, oh, I'm -1 Bravery, but I'm now Bravery 10. I don't really care. Uh,
Absolutely. Yeah.
so yeah, but I mean, he's a pretty good, like, he's 240 points, and he's like a quite good little fighter. His biggest weakness is mortal wounds. Same with the rest of the army, because he takes half damage from shooting and combat. He's ignores safe modifiers, so he's always on a free up. His weakness is he can just, again, because he's only on a free up, you can't buff that.
No.
So if you hit him with lots of damage one shooting,
Yeah.
it can just get through his 8 wounds, especially if he hasn't got that ward save up.
Yeah, and if you do get the ward save up though, then he's a 3-up ethereal with a 5-up ward. That is mwah, that is pretty cool. Yeah,
Great versus big stuff. Like you put him in like against a Kronspine or something, he's probably pretty good at holding up a Kronspine. But you put him against a unit of like 10 Witch Elves, they can hurt him quite
they'll just
quickly.
yeah, it's just the overwhelming him with
Yeah, yeah,
and he still is subject. I mean, he's still up subject to like the what's it called? The Purple Sun, for example. Like, there's
yes,
a
yeah.
few
He's
things
not immune
that
to that.
could still mess with him. So it's,
Yeah,
he does have a counter,
yeah.
and
He's an awesome model, and
he's the
he's
coolest
like
looking model, Keith, in
Chuck
this
Norris.
army.
Yeah,
I can't give you in the game. I mean,
yeah.
he's up there though. Like he is legitimately up there.
The fun for those people that don't know his lore is basically it is Elfarian from
Yeah,
fantasy,
it's Eltharion.
where his
Yeah,
spirit was so
right there.
strong. Teclis tried to bind him back into a body, and when they binded him back into a body, the body disintegrated, but his spirit basically went into the armor, and he's now just a walking suit of alive armor,
It's so cool.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really rad. I like it. Okay, so
Lumineth, I think the main thing for him is his damage on his sword is now 2.
okay,
He's pretty good support hero because he can do the thing where um, he can do the sun metal weapons on multiple units
and is
with the greater power of Fish.
he's another wind guy?
No, he's
Oh,
like the leader of he's a Ymetra. So
Oh, he's
he's immune
stone
to
guy.
Rend 1. If he's in Umetri, he's immune to Rend 2 with
Ooh,
that free up armor save.
neat.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
Okay.
yeah, he's a pretty good support character, to be honest.
Yeah.
But not a huge amount to change.
And he's riding that
The
like
Venari
llama
Lord
thing.
Regent is just a smaller version of him.
Okay. You mean it's the
Um,
generic version, or he's?
yeah, it's the generic
Is
version.
it the same kit?
Yes, yeah. I think
Cool.
it's like a it's same horse, different hero. He's just got less banners and stuff on him.
Cool. Okay. Fair enough.
But he's again, if you're running like a Venaria list and you want kind of like a more combat orientated support hero, they're pretty good.
Neat. I like it.
Yeah,
And they're fast. 14
yeah.
inches. Oof. Okay. Venari. And we don't have to do everything. Like we
Yeah, the
can just.
Bannerlord, he's yeah, he's not very that
Keith,
interesting.
don't worry about it, man. And I appreciate you
Yeah,
in the chat, buddy. Like this is all me. So this is my fault.
yeah,
Like my gastro went crazy, and
yeah.
so I appreciate you holding down the chat for me,
So
Casey, and
Sentinels,
thanks for James
the
too.
the boogeyman of
Sentinels. Okay.
Lumineth, Rumlord,
Yeah.
first two books.
The
Um,
the old
so they've gone
boogeyman, right?
the boogeyman. So
Yeah.
one, they've lost. Well, they were the annoying thing because people would take 30 of them and they would ignore line of sight and they would just shoot your heroes off or support heroes off a turn or just bombard you with mortal wounds with rerolls. Now they're 24 inches instead of 30
Yeah.
for their long shot.
They need line
Um,
of sight, right?
they need line of sight. They don't ignore that anymore. They do ignore, I think, cover when they with their lantern.
And that's fair.
Um,
Yeah.
the big thing is they still can be 30-inch range if you have them within 12 inches of one of the bolt throwers or another unit of sentinels.
Okay.
So if you take two units of 10 sentinels, they're going to be on 30-inch ranges if they're within 12 inches of each other.
And they still
Um,
do mortals on fives with their
They're
spell.
still more than fires with the spell, but because it's reduced range down, because you can get things out of that line of sight, it's not as oppressive as it used to be.
Absolutely. And now there's no lambent light to get the
Yeah.
rerolls,
So
so it's more
you
like an
used to see like
actual fair kind
a
of thing.
block of 30 of them
Yeah.
with Lambert Light, and they would be the ones doing that.
Yeah.
Now, if you have that one block of 30, you're only on 24 inches. You've not got the Lambert Light. So, kind of, you're probably better off taking two units of 20 if you're going down that route. But yeah,
They're
yeah.
still cool models. I,
They're still a good shooting support unit, but I think there's better for the points.
cool. That's
Um,
interesting. I'm super curious. I actually really like the look of Sentinels,
yeah,
so I would like them to be, something that
yeah.
people want
He
to
isn't
run.
cool enough to get his sub faction rules. He has no cow hat. Yeah.
No cow hat. No
Yeah, he
soup for
doesn't have.
you.
He's